Joe Rogan still needs to have and still hasn't had an archaeologist or Egyptologist on his podcast. For a person that claims to love history so much, I bet he does, and claims to love Egypt so much, he doesn't invite anybody that's actually knowledgeable on the ancient past of the country. So let's search up JRE history, and just looking on official sources, we're not looking on any second-hand channels, we're looking on first-party channels here, type shit. What do we see? Dan Flores, episode 1975. Writer and historian specializing in the cultural and environmental study of the American West. Interesting, not Egypt though, so not exactly what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for some Egypt facts, a conversation, the disgusting parts of history. Yeah, this is just Shane Gillis, Joe Rogan, and two other bros just talking bro shit. I ain't gonna watch this. S.C. Gawain, episode 1395. 1397, American non-fiction writer. They probably discuss some history in there, and it's definitely interesting to a lot of people, and it's interesting to me as well. But where the fuck is the Egyptology? We'll get there. Let me get Jump Gaffigan. The thumbnail looks like it's some history shit, and if you watch the clip, you'll probably get some little pointers of history, but it turns out he's a stand-up comedian, author, and an actor. One podcast that I found interesting on this list of searching for JRE history is the Lone Girl podcast. This guy spent 18 years reporting on the drug war in Mexico, and he wrote 2 books, so he's got a lot of interesting shit to share. Not like any stand-up comics and shit and actors talking about history. I'm good. So now we're on to searching JRE Egypt. You are interested in Egypt. You want to know what's good with Egypt. You want to learn more about it, but you want just a cool conversation and an easy to find podcast. You search JRE Egypt. Simple. This is where we get into the meat of this video. Graham Hancock. This guy has been on so many episodes of Joe Rogan saying a lot of the same shit, and I've probably watched almost all the episodes, and that's the thing. Because I've watched almost all the episodes, I know what bullshit this guy speaks. And I'm not saying it's bullshit because he's done his own history and done his own studies, so, well, I did just say it's bullshit. In my opinion, of course. But let me show you why. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Let's get into the meat of this bone. So I came across this video where Graham Hancock discusses Antarctica possibly appearing on a map before they discovered Antarctica.
Astonishing thing is the so-called Pinkerton world map. I don't know if you can find it, Jamie. Drawn, I think, in 1813 or 1818, based on the latest exploration data at that time. And where Antarctica is, yeah, that one, keep going right. It just shows a hole where Antarctica is. Because it was an honest map. Nobody had found it by then.
So Graham asked Jamie to pull up the Walter Miller world map from, he says, the 1530s or so. The map that Jamie pulls up is actually Orontius Phineas map from 1532 that Graham didn't he didn't bother to say that ain't the map that he's talking about. And he says it looks like Antarctica. Let's put this landmass next to Antarctica. Okay. Now when I first looked at this, right, I thought this looked actually like, wait, that looks more like Australia. I'm sure that looked, and then I googled Australia and, well, let's see. So it actually kind of lines up more with Australia than it does with Antarctica in any way, shape or form. It kind of lines up with Australia pretty well. And this would make sense because Australia was a newly discovered landmass at the time.
But if you go back to, for example, the Waldseemüller world map drawn in 1530 or thereabouts, you find Antarctica is present. That map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be. And it shows it, there we go, Antarctica, at the tip of South America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land.
You know why it's called the Southern Land? The full phrase that's written on that landmass is the Southern Land, but not recently known or not currently known or something like that. That's what it says. It's dog. It's clearly Australia, dog. I don't think we need to get into this, bro. Like this is basically Graham Hancock, and I can go into so much shit. And yeah, he talks facts sometimes, but a lot of the time it just seems like he's crying. I guess we all have that sometimes, so I'll give it to him.
Now, what the fuck is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization.
I must say, when paleontologist Trevor Valler, I think that's how you say his name, when he came on and basically debunked the video some guy made about dinosaurs never existing, when he came on, that was funny. That was cool. Give us that with Egyptology. Give us that with archaeology. Give us that with people saying that humans had advanced ancient technology 20, 30,000 years ago. Because there is absolutely no evidence for any of that. And if you say that, you are just absolutely in your imagination. Like, there's no evidence whatsoever. So give us the experts coming on. Like, let us have more clips like that, where it's like an expert talking in the field instead of just someone that's done research. Yeah. So you haven't fully done research on this one site, but you've done a lot of research on a lot of sites. So it's easy to connect patterns. And then we got this Graham Hancock video. The Amazon is a colossal mystery. 14 million views. 14 million views. It's just weird that things that he seems so interested in, like ancient Egypt, and when he discusses these theories with his guests that aren't clued up on what he's talking about, he's spreading it to more and more and more millions of people. I don't know if I said that right, but that's basically what's happening. If an expert was on, dog, imagine the talking points we could get. Imagine the 2.5 hour interesting fact-packed podcast that we could get if there was an Egyptologist on. And he's just telling us, or she is just telling us history and shit that we've actually learned. Dog. And this is why it's annoying, because we get no experts in the field. When it comes to other topics, we get so many experts in the field, like literally when it comes to the CIA. If you're a fan of cosmology, you will get something on JRE. That podcast with Brian Keating was a good podcast. If you're a fan of the UFC and fighting, you will get so much value. Even muscle cars. No. Even sex, neuroscientists talking about future sex robots. What? Dog. And there's videos with millions and millions of views talking about Egypt in comparison to what we actually know and the things that you could share and the interesting things that we could hear. It's just not on the same factual level. And that's what's annoying. Because for everything else we get these facts, we get, these content factual packed podcasts. And then for Egyptology and Egypt and history and about the ancient world, we don't get anything. Joe Rogan doesn't invite of the ancient history world on his podcast. I don't understand it. Literally, whatever you like, there is something for you on JRE. But when you search a topic like Egypt, there's no professional that you could watch for 2.5 hours and really absorb some information. Like I said, imagine a 2.5 hour podcast of straight, interesting, actual history and like explanations based on like concrete shit that's been studied, based on studies, not based on fucking reports, but there's a difference between what Graham Hancock does, which is like reporting and journalism, and then like the experts in the singular field, in the separate fields. Literally all we ever get is, wow, that would be cool, or like, that's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. That's basically the same thing as saying maybe or what if the whole day. You are saying what if for your entire life. What if? What do you mean what if, bro? That's all in your head. Like, we have actual shit that's not in your head right in front of you, ready to share with millions of people, and you just ain't inviting the experts on. It's weird, bro. Like, please, Joe Rogan, you are not watching or listening to this video, but please have professionals on, or anyone watching this video, please, like, realize that what you hear on JRE might be bullshit. He might just go along with whatever his guest is saying. I'll probably still listen to the podcast for however long I'm alive, because he does still have interesting people on, and he probably will one day have an expert in the field of archaeology, Egyptology, or something like that on. But right now, there's nothing. And if you search anything related to JRE, Egypt, or history, you get nothing to do with JRE, Egypt, with actual Egypt. This is what comes up. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Also share this if you found it interesting. And yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you so much.